We got Cory Sandhagen back here on the program. He's going to be taking on John Lineker at UFC on ESPN Plus 1 on January 19th. Cory, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm good, James. How are you, man?
I'm doing awesome. Big fight for you, like I mentioned off the top. But I initially thought you were going to be fighting Thomas Almeida. That was the rumor that was going around. What happened there? How come you're fighting Lineker instead of Almeida?
To be honest, I don't really know what happened with Almeida. I was planning for Almeida too because that's what I was being told from all sides. Um, I don't really know. There's a few things I heard. I don't know if any of them are true. But I know that they were really wanting us 17th. I don't know if that's maybe the reason is Almeida couldn't do it on that date or he wanted to do it on a different day or what it was. But um, they really wanted me on the January 19th card, I think. And then when Cruz dropped out, they were kind of like, all right, like let's lose Almeida. And then if Cory wants to take the Lineker fight, he could take that. And that's what we did.
Interesting. So was there any hesitation at all? Because I imagine there's not a lot of guys lined up to fight John Lineker.
Yeah. No, not a lot of hesitation. Honestly, I put all of that on my coach's shoulders. I don't like to think about who I have to fight, like whether it's a good fight, blah, blah, blah. As a fighter, my job is to just show up in the cage and perform the best that I can. Um, so when my coaches heard of John Lineker, they were like, hey, we're taking this John Lineker fight with you. And I was like, oh, sweet, I get to jump up that quick? That's awesome, man, you know? So I was pumped about it. I'm ready to go.
Safe to say this was unexpected getting a fight like this.
Yeah, very unexpected. Actually, it took a little settling into. Um, I guess things in the UFC, I don't know if it's just me or it feels like things move very quickly. I don't know, maybe it's because I got into the UFC just right off of that LFA fight, and then so that happened very quickly, and then it was, oh, I'm fighting Yuri Alcantara, that happened very quickly. I got a bonus, that happened very quickly. I made a lot of money really quickly, so it feels like everything just happens really quick, but I'm feeling like this is a little abnormal.
Are you still riding that momentum from the last fight? Of course, UFC Fight Night 135, you got that TKO win over Yuri Alcantara. You referenced the fight there, but that was a fight that won you a ton of fans because it looked like you were down and out in that first, and then you were able to come back. Are you still riding high off that? Is the confidence level still just as high?
The confidence is still very high. It brought a lot of confidence to me because I mean you don't really know how you're gonna act in when you're getting fired on and you're in a really bad spot. The worst spot that you could probably be in a fight is what I was in. And you don't really know how you're going to act until you're actually there. You like to think that you're going to rise up to the occasion and you're going to make things happen and blah, blah, blah. But you never really know until it happens. So it brings me a lot of confidence. I have that in me. And it's pretty just natural and instinctual too. That was very cool for me to learn about myself.
What was the feedback like, and has life changed at all since that fight? Because you won over a lot of fans, like I mentioned.
I got a ton of messages from that, a lot of really positive ones.
You got
Those
negative
messages,
messages, really? Did people? I guess that's MMA fans, right? They're never happy.
yeah, they're never happy. What did they say? A few negative ones. I don't even like to give them any attention, but yeah, a lot of positive ones, man. Like a lot of really kind things, like hey, like that inspired me, like because like watching a fight and seeing a cool thing happen is cool and all, but like when you feel like you've done something for that person, then that was really cool. I didn't think that I was doing any of that either, so that was nice validation towards that.
Let's talk about John Lineker. Obviously, we know where his strengths are. He's got knockout power. He's a guy that really will bring people into his world, and that's usually where they end up losing. They get finished. How do you approach this fight and not play his game, so to speak?
Um, well, it's going to be not playing his game. I mean, everyone knows what his game is. His game is he wants to get close. He wants to throw a lot of hooks to the body. He doesn't like wrestling much. Um, it's just going to be fighting my fight exactly how I fight all of my fights. I stay really long. I move a lot. I hit a lot of angles. Um, I mix it up. I keep them guessing. I mix in the shots. I mix in the takedowns. So it's just going to be doing a lot of what I usually do. I know he's much shorter than me, so I'll have that advantage over him, but that can also be a disadvantage too if you're not used to fighting shorter guys. Punching down, I think, is a way that a lot of people get knocked out. They're not protecting their face as well when they're having to punch down at their opponent. So me and my coaches are very game plan ready. I feel very confident in my ability to act out the game plan. But yeah, Lineker's a beast. You know, like I'm not expecting anything easy. I'm expecting like a very tough 15-minute fight if that's what it has to come down to. And I'm just gonna outwork and outclass him. I have that in my head. Outwork him, outclass him.
Do you kind of have that I got nothing to lose mentality here? Because again, you're taking the jump up in competition. He's expected to win this fight. I imagine when the betting odds come out, I haven't even checked them yet, but he will probably be
Yeah.
the favorite. Do you like that? Because it seemed like that was like your last fight as well.
I don't pay any attention to any of that stuff. Obviously, it crosses my mind. I know that I'm in a very good situation as it is. But that's a very dangerous mentality to go into a fight. Oh, I don't have anything to lose. Let me just do my best, you know? I've never gone into a fight like that. I'm never going to. Every single time I go into the cage, it's going to be, let me focus on my performance, what I'm doing. I want to do it to the best of my ability. And I'm coming out with this win, and I don't care what it takes. That's what I'm going to do. But at the same time, I do realize after the fight, regardless of the outcome, I'm probably sitting in a pretty good spot either way. So um, that's nice, but that's a very dangerous mentality to have. Not one that I like to fantasize about too much. For me, I'm going in, I'm doing my thing, I'm beating John Lineker.
Well, I more so meant in terms of pressure. I mean, the pressure's on him in this fight. I think with you, being counted
Oh,
out, I think that you don't have as much stress as I imagine he would in this fight because he really needs to win. He's got. I mean, potentially if he beats you here, he could be next in line for the title. Whereas I think even if you got this one, I don't know if you'd be that far up yet. But who knows with the matchmaking these days.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's just something I was kind of thinking about. Let's talk about training camp. Just business as usual, same training partners. Training in Colorado.
Yep, still training in Colorado with Elevation. Nothing too much has changed. All of the coaches are still working their hardest, just like how we're all working our hardest. A little bit different training partners. I'm working with some different guys. Miguel Perez and Daniel Agri, both extremely good kickboxers. Not too well known. They're still amateurs, but extremely talented kickboxers. So I'm working with both of those guys. They're a little bit shorter. They have a little bit more of a style of John Lineker. But no, other than that, it's just waking up every day, getting through my practices every day. I'm getting a little worn out at this point. It's always around like the 6-7 week mark where you got to crawl out of bed a little bit and crawl your way to practice. But I'm showing up every day, so it's business as usual.
And the cut's going well. I know you didn't have any issues really making 35 for your last fight.
Yeah, the cut's actually going much better. I'm working with a nutritionist this time, Real Foods Denver. I don't know what it is, but man, I lose weight like crazy. I don't have like too much muscle soreness anymore. Like I used to really have like issues with like muscle soreness. Like it'd be Wednesday and I'd be extremely sore. But after working with her and supplementing and things like that, this is probably the best, yeah, physically that I've probably ever felt going into a fight.
How do you see this fight playing out on January 19th?
To be honest, man, I don't know. Like especially with John Lineker, I know that there's a wider gap for chance in the style that he has, right? So I'm gonna go out, fight the fight that I know how to fight. If it's gonna be 15 minutes of me and him punching and kicking each other the entire time, then so be it. If it's me taking him down, holding him down, if it's him taking me down and me playing jiu-jitsu, getting up, like I don't like to go into fights visualizing the best outcome always. I always prepare myself for an Alcantara type fight, where I don't want to imagine myself in the best spot because when things start getting ugly, like you got to be ready for the ugliness too. And I'm fully prepared for an ugly fight with John.
Where do you feel like a win over John puts you in the division? We talked a little bit about it there.
I really don't know, man. Like I haven't thought too much about it. I know that there's only a few guys ahead. Cruz is out with a shoulder injury for a year, so it won't be fighting him. I don't really know who that leaves. Moraes and Asuncao, I think the winner of that one is going to get a shot at TJ, depending on how the TJ and Cejudo fight goes. I don't know if they'll want a rematch at another belt if TJ loses. Lost you there. uh, if TJ loses that fight, I don't know if they're going to have a rematch at 135. Like it could kind of go anywhere. I know that I want to still fight up. I don't want to fight someone down. If I beat Lineker, it's because I came up. I rose to the occasion. I took a very risky fight, and I want that to be appreciated, and I want to fight up after that. So I think maybe whoever, and then maybe one more fight until the title for me.
What are you watching right now on Netflix? Any TV getting you through training camp?
No, man. I don't watch a lot of Netflix. I watch a lot of stand-up comedy.
Okay, well, what's something good you've watched recently?
Recently, actually, it's funny. I watched for the first time Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I saw that last night with my girlfriend at the Colorado Symphony. Like the Colorado Symphony plays it while the movie plays. And I'm really big into like cool stories, you know, like the like kind of like a hero's journey type story. And Harry Potter like kind of follows those guidelines. So yeah, Harry Potter I guess was a good one that I watched.
Good stuff. And this is going to be a great card. The first card on ESPN, man. This is history right here. January 19th. It's UFC on ESPN +1. Cory, always appreciate you taking the time, man. Just remind people where they can find you on social media. And if you got anyone to thank, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So I guess I'd like to thank my MAT guy, NPT, Rock Solid, muscle activation and physical therapy. Laylee at Real Foods Denver. And then, yeah, you can find me on Instagram. I'm not too huge on Twitter. I should probably start getting back on that. But my Instagram is CORS period LIFE, Coors Life. So